Hello, everyone. Welcome back to It's Giving Health, a podcast by Advanced Community Health dedicated to educating our community on a wide variety of health topics. I'm your host, Donna Ward. Today, we're talking about something that affects nearly every woman who gives birth, but doesn't get talked about nearly enough: postpartum health. And I'm not just talking about the first 6 weeks. I'm talking about physical recovery, the mental health struggles, the identity shifts, and everything in between. And I have not one, but two incredible guests with me today to cover it all. First, we have Brenda Gartrell, a family nurse practitioner in our OBGYN department here at Advanced Community Health. Hello, Brenda.
Hello, good morning, Donna.
Yes, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Well, my name is Brenda Gartrell. I've worked for ACH in the OBGYN department now since 2024. I've worked as a nurse practitioner since 2019, specifically in the women's health space. So that includes prenatal care, postpartum care, reproductive life planning, and menopause as well. So this is definitely a topic that's close to my heart.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, welcome. And also joining us is Victoria Johnson, a licensed clinical social worker who works exclusively with our OB patients. Hello, Victoria. Introduce yourself.
Hello, Donna. Thank you for having me. Like she said, my name is Victoria Johnson. I started at Advanced Community Health along with Brenda in 2024. Prior to working in women's health at Advance, a lot of my background is in victim services with women experiencing domestic violence, human trafficking, and perinatal substance use. I'm also a certified birth doula and a lactation counselor. So this work I love doing.
Okay, I'm excited. Look at that. Okay, so today we're diving deep into what happens after the baby arrives, because let's be real, everyone focuses on the pregnancy and birth, but the postpartum period, that's when a lot of people feel the most alone, the most overwhelmed, and the least supported. We're talking about postpartum depression and anxiety, physical recovery that nobody warns you about, relationship changes, and how to actually ask for help when you need it.
It's really important that we're talking about this.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. Let's get right in. We've got some real hot takes today. Your poll results are in, and we're answering your questions in Let's Check the Mail, including some that came directly from people in our community who are navigating postpartum right now. So before we dive in, quick reminder, if you want to see us do something fun on camera, check out our video episode. It drops every third Wednesday. All right, so for now, let's get into it. It is time for our hot takes. And today we're tackling some things that need to be said out loud. Here's what we're diving into. Hot take number 1. You shouldn't have to bounce back. Your body just grew a human. Come on now. The take. We're obsessed with the postpartum bounce back culture. Celebrities in bikinis 2 weeks after giving birth. Influencers showing off flat stomachs. The pressure to get your body back as if your body went somewhere. But your body didn't go anywhere. It changed. It grew a whole human. And the expectation you should erase all evidence of that within weeks or months? That's shame disguised as inspiration. Your body deserves rest. It deserves healing and respect, not a countdown to fitting into your old jeans. Brenda, Victoria, we see this all over social media, both the physical and emotional side. What does this bounce back pressure do to postpartum people?
Well, it's really interesting that you brought up that information. 1 out of 7 women in the postpartum period will have some type of postpartum depression. So with that being known, causing them to have increased stress because not only are they caring for a new human, but now also have to care about their appearance to the degree that is acceptable by society adds an undue weight and pressure that you often don't think about. In pregnancy, you don't necessarily think about what your body is going to look like. If anything, you're focused on the baby. What's my sleep going to look like? What's my work going to look like? But you don't think about, where are these extra stretch marks going to go, right? Or you may also not focus on, well, now I had a C-section and my body physically looks different and I need to adjust to that. So these are some unknown stressors, right, that we don't address initially when we're pregnant because we don't think about it. So then when you feel the pressure of having to bounce back, obviously affects your mental health.
Okay. Victoria, what's your take?
I love and hate social media for a reason such as this, because a lot of times people look towards influencers or celebrities as a guide to how they should live or how they should look. And what I really want women to recognize is that a lot of these people that you see online, they don't even look that way.
They lying.
They're using Photoshop. They're using all types of Facetune and things like that. And you have to remember, these people have lifestyles that are completely different from us. They have certain types of help and staff and things that can make life a little bit easier for them in terms of the bounce back. What's most important is that you're taking care of yourself and your baby. The body part is important. It can come later, but to pressure yourself to have to look a certain way after you had your baby, you don't even know who you are in this new space, right? You're still discovering who this new person is as a mom. And so you want to give time to that. And remember, these are unrealistic expectations that even those people you're watching, they're not meeting them themselves in real life.
I'm glad you said that. My son's 5 and I still don't know who I am.
It takes a minute to find yourself.
Okay. I agree. I do think a lot of people assume that if you make it through the first 6 weeks, then you're fine. But that's not how that works, right?
The actual postpartum period is known to be up to 2 years.
Yep. 2 years. Okay, so I can't use that excuse no more.
You still learning. It's a new child every year.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's go into hot take number 2. We romanticize motherhood so much that we shame people for struggling. The take: society tells us motherhood is supposed to be beautiful, magical, fulfilling experience. Oh, he changed my life. And it can be, but it's also exhausting, isolating, and sometimes traumatic. When new parents admit that they're struggling, they're met with judgment instead of support. They may say, this is what you signed up for, or other people have it harder. That's not support. We need to let people tell the truth about postpartum without making them feel like failures. So Victoria, you work with people navigating this every single day. How does this shame show up?
What I see the most is I get a lot of moms who feel like it's only them. Right. We definitely live within a culture, especially in African American culture, of this Black Superwoman schema that exists where they feel like she has to do everything, does not complain. If you complain or cry, ask for help, that means that you're weak. And so there are a lot of moms who are struggling, but they're scared to speak up because they didn't see their mom cry or ask for help, or their grandma cry or ask for help. And so they feel like if they do, something's wrong with them. Or their friends are not talking about it because everyone feels shameful for needing help. But having a baby is not an experience that is supposed to be done alone.
No.
It is supposed to be done in partnership with a village. And asking that village for support is important, right? It takes a lot of strength and courage to speak up and say, I'm struggling. I'm not doing okay. I need a little extra support, because now that makes for a better mom and also a happier baby. And that's what we want the most.
Yes, absolutely. Brenda, what's your take on this?
I would say possibly from the medical perspective that sometimes you have these patients with this chronic fatigue, right? So sometimes it's not the depression piece or the anxiety. They're just tired. They feel like their mind is never resting. They're in the shower and they feel like they heard the baby. They're in the restroom and they feel like they heard the baby. They're in the grocery store and maybe the baby woke up even though the baby's not around them. So it's this constant, almost like brain fatigue, right? And other ways the stress can develop as their blood pressure, right? Their blood pressure high because they're not resting, right? Because their mind is racing. So these are some ways that some of these emotions can physically manifest, this fatigue, this dissociation, and then, the increased blood pressure and other things that might result because of the stress.
Absolutely. So y'all, people having babies every day. Okay. Yeah. So these are conversations that we need to keep having. What do you think? Drop a comment or DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Seriously, your hot takes makes this so much better. We might even feature your response in our social media. So, all right, it's poll time. Let's see what y'all had to say. We asked our viewers on social media, how do you feel most supported during postpartum? Is it when my loved ones prepare meals for me and my family? When loved ones listen without judgment? When loved ones assist with baby duties like naps or feedings? Or when my doctor takes me seriously, when it comes to my pain or my baby worries or breastfeeding? We're going to have our guests do the honors and tell us what was our top poll response. Can I get a drum roll, please? Thank you. All right.
So the result, when loved ones assist with baby duties.
Yeah, that is top notch right there. That cannot be compared to.
Really?
Yes.
I'm more like, nah, make me something to eat.
That could be one of the duties they're assisting with,
yes,
right?
That's true. Okay. So assisting with baby duties. Yes, definitely taking off some of the load. Okay. So stay tuned for future polls by checking our social media page. You can vote on Instagram and Facebook. It literally takes 5 seconds, and we'll share the results live in each episode. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, or so they say. And today I want to hear from both of you. What's one small thing you recommend to postpartum patients that really makes a difference?
I think for me, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's really important that you ask for the support when you need it and be okay with that. Mm-hmm. One conversation I have with all of my mamas is that in order to be a good mom, it takes a little bit of selfishness. And sometimes people look at me a little wide-eyed when I say that, because we're taught the opposite, right? Give everything to your kids and your family. That's what it's all about. But you can't give everything. You really, because then you're left with nothing.
Come on now.
Right. So
That's
you got to, so you got to take a couple of moments to I tell some of my mamas, hey, go to your favorite restaurant and eat there. Eat at the drive-thru in the restaurant. Don't bring it back home if you don't have to. Take a nice long shower. Do whatever you feel like you need to do to feel better. It doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of time, but you have to take those moments. Even though your life changed greatly, it doesn't mean that you just completely disappeared and all your needs just went away because you had a baby.
I find peace eating my favorite snack when I hide from my son on the stairs.
Yes, you don't have to share it.
There's not
nobody
sharing it
with sticky fingers and dirty face trying to get in your food.
And then he'll come and he'll say, "Ooh, I like that." I'll be like, I know you do.
All gone. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No more. What about you, Brenda? You got a nice little apple of the day?
I would say the apple that I always like to share with my patients is to give themselves grace and accept the help. Because I feel that the transition from pregnancy to postpartum is always different from what you expected. Whether that's you thought your baby would sleep well or be calm because you and your partner are calm, or because, breastfeeding would go easily because your mother did and your sister did, and you have all these resources. And sometimes it is not to the expectation that you desired, right? Or even your birth. Maybe you had planned to do certain things and it didn't happen. So allow yourself grace to not only acknowledge those things, but also give yourself grace in that it's difficult for everyone, right? Your baby is a whole new human that you've never encountered, right? Just like how you were a whole new human to your parents that they never encountered, and there's not anyone else like you. Right. So I tell them to give themselves grace because whatever they anticipated may be different, and that's fine. It's not that they're less than. It's not that their children are less than. It's not that their partners, although sometimes, are less than. It's just that it's different, and it's okay to accept that. And I feel that personally, especially with my patients that like to be on schedule, on task, go-getters, sometimes they miss that freedom. Sometimes they miss having that routine and that, being the go-to person and feeling like now you have to rely on others and feeling like things are out of your hands. It can be hard to accept. So I really tell them to give themselves grace and accept the help when possible.
Love that. Both of these are so good. Be a little selfish. Give yourself grace.
Exactly.
I think the key is they're small, right? You don't have to overhaul your whole life. It's just one thing that you need to do. So for our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, tell us what your apple of the day is by dropping a comment in the chat. All right, it's time to check the mail. This is where we answer your questions. Let's see what our audience sent us. Okay, first question. What are some of the best things people can do to support a new mom? What do y'all think?
I think asking them what they need and not waiting for the mom to ask you for help, because we know a lot of times they're not going to do that. The mom is not going to ask for support. But if you go to them and say, hey, what can I help with today? What meal can I bring you, like you mentioned? Or can I fold your laundry? Can I hold the baby while you take a nap? Offering the support instead of waiting for it to be asked for, because it's probably not going to be asked
That's
for.
a good one. Yeah. Anything to add?
What I would add is anticipate some. So offer and anticipate. So if I know that you have a 5-year-old and a newborn, I'm taking your 5-year-old out to the playground, right? So at least you have time with that newborn, or if the newborn's okay with it, watch the newborn and the 5-year-old so you can take a shower.
Yeah.
But definitely anticipating certain things. Okay. Oh, I know your partner's going back to work on this day. What can I do this day to have one thing off your plate? So maybe I'll drop off a meal for dinner so you don't have to think about dinner. You know what I mean?
Okay. So the next question, I can answer this one. When will I feel like myself again? You won't. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Y'all, let me hear from the experts. Go ahead. What do y'all think?
Well, you're touching on it a little bit, because yourself is a different person. Yeah. So you're looking to find this person pre-children or, before life changed, and you're not going to be that exact same person. Now, things that you enjoyed, things that made you can get those back.
Yes,
but you're always going to look at life now with a different lens, and recognizing that and accepting that sometimes helps with that depression or that mental anguish of like, I've lost myself. Have you lost yourself, or have you discovered a new version of yourself? Right. And how can you go along with that? And then try to adjust in that way. And so you can still keep your hobbies and your interests and the things you're good at. You don't have to get rid of those because you're a mom.
That's a good perspective. I still look at him and say, not me, a mother.
That's crazy. It too. Mine are 10 and 3. And I'm like, man, I really have 2 kids.
Right. Don't make no sense. Okay. So another question, how do I know if I'm experiencing postpartum depression? Brenda, I'm going to let you start this one.
Yeah, so when it comes to postpartum depression, as we know, the baby blues are supposed to be the first 2 weeks after a baby's born, right? Sometimes we're tearful, we get a little sad, sometimes we hear the baby crying, we feel overwhelmed, and it subsides, right? It gets better, we tend to cope. And then postpartum depression is kind of like that nagging, something's wrong. Yeah. I'm not doing enough. I don't have the energy to do something. I'm not interested anymore. I don't want to participate in, an activity that normally I would do. I don't want to talk to my family about what's going on. I want to be left alone. So it's almost like a cave of isolation in some ways. Okay. And sometimes your relatives might pick up on it faster than you do, right? So that is one way you can tell, aside from feeling some of the obvious emotions, right? You want to hurt someone, hurt yourself. Those might be thoughts that come and go. Or sometimes you think, I'm not doing good enough. I'm not doing my best. My baby deserves better. My baby needs another mother. And these are different things that over time, slowly you start to think more and more and even believe, right? So these are some of the ways you may know that you're starting to experience postpartum depression.
Okay.
I really want to normalize for a lot of our moms out there that not everybody bonds with their baby right away. Everyone does not look at their child right away and say, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing feeling. It takes a while sometimes. You don't always feel emotionally connected or feel like you just want to be around this baby all the time. And it doesn't mean you're a bad mom or going to be a bad mom or going to ruin your child's life. But recognizing that is a sign that maybe I need to talk to someone and get some support because I don't like feeling this way. But I do want my moms to know that is a common feeling, along with feeling anxious after. We talk about postpartum depression, but postpartum anxiety is very real and just as prevalent, right?
Yeah. I remember thinking, like, for some reason, my newborn was going to be able to come out of the crib and roll down the stairs. Don't ask me how.
It happens. You just think about all the things and you're like freaked out. You're checking the baby's breathing every second.
Every second.
You don't want anybody to hold the baby, look at the baby, touch the baby. And you're thinking you're just protecting you and your baby. But we recognize that might be some signs of postpartum anxiety as well. So they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. All right. And last question, interesting question, because I know that I probably started exercising way too early, but when can I safely start exercising or having sex again? And what to do if I'm still not ready? What do y'all think? So, I started 2 weeks after I had him.
Oh, man. Okay.
I think I felt some things tearing. Okay.
You gotta let yourself feel a little bit.
Yeah. Agreed. I would say, everyone knows that postpartum appointment, which is important because not only do we assess you, mentally, but also physically. That's where you kind of get that green check mark that you can go back to your normal activities and gradually, right? So starting exercise, I don't want you doing P90X or burn boot camp right out the gate, right? We're starting off with walking, some light weights, Zumba, and then slowly move up. And then something else is also to figure out, this question for those that might have had preeclampsia or some other type of comorbidity in their pregnancy. Sometimes we can't just generalize and say, oh, you can go back at 6 weeks because they may have other things that are going on as well. And then it also depends on your birth, right? Did you have a tear? Did you have a C-section? Did you need more of an intervention than the standard birth, if that makes sense? So I would say when you go to your 6-week appointment, normally that's when you get the clearance to do everything you want to do before. But on the same token, that's part of the reason we encourage you to come back so we can make sure everything is healing well, to make sure that you are mentally also healing well, and then to make sure that everything with your baby is also going well.
I think it's really important too, if you're not ready to get back into like sex with your partner, is that you feel comfortable enough to verbalize that. Yeah. Because oftentimes we get a lot of moms whose partners maybe are pushing them because they are really ready to get back into sex. But you also have to recognize that like you birthed an entire human. Your body just went through something very traumatic. It was beautiful, yes, but also traumatic for your body to experience that. And you deserve that time to heal. So being able to verbalize that to them. And then when you guys are ready to maybe do something intimate, you guys can determine what that is. Does it have to be full-blown sex, or can it just be some other intimacy things that are happening until you feel completely ready? But constantly having that conversation is important.
Yeah, to mess around, had them oops babies.
You're very fertile after. Okay.
And to add on to Vicky's point, the only thing I would add is that even though you may be physically ready, sometimes you're not mentally ready. So they may say, your appointment went fine. You told me your bleeding's good. We can do it. And maybe you are not mentally at that point, whether it's because you're short on sleep, whether you are stressed or depressed. It's okay to give yourself time before initiating as well.
Okay. Really good. Thank you so much to our listeners for submitting questions. Seriously, we love doing this segment and connecting with you all. Your questions make the show better. Stay tuned to your email and our social media for your chance to submit questions for future episodes. All right, before we go, it's giveaway time. As a reminder, we'll be raffling off exciting prizes every episode. Stay tuned to your email and our social media for your chance to enter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and took something valuable away. Thank you so much, Brenda and Victoria, as well.
Thank you.
Yes, you can catch us every first Wednesday for a new episode of It's Giving Health and every third Wednesday for our Hot Seat edition. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Podbean. Subscribe to Advanced Community Health at Advanced CHC to stay up to date on the latest episodes. Until next time.